Hello guys, welcome to Cop First. So today we are going to solve a question which was asked in American Express. So before looking into the question, let's see the data that we were given. So we were given one table called employees, and the employee table contains employee ID, name of the employee, salary of the employee, department ID of the employee, and manager ID of the employee. So each row tells about the employee's salary and which department the employee works in and who is the manager of that particular employee, which is mentioned in the form of manager ID. So now let's see what the question says. So the question says write a SQL query to find all employees who have salary more than their manager. So as we have to figure out whether the employee's salary is greater than the manager's salary or not, so what we will have to do is we have to compare the salary of the employee. For example, in this case, Daniel, whose salary is 2230, we have to compare Daniel's salary with the manager of Daniel. So Daniel's manager is no one but an employee with employee ID 10, right? And if you look at the employee ID 10, then that's James. And James' salary is 4,000. That means Daniel's salary is not more than James' salary or the manager's salary. So we will say, no, this is not the employee with salary greater than manager. So somehow we have to compare both these salaries. And one way to do that is somehow add a column in this particular table so that this 4,000 comes in that particular column, and then we can compare 2230 with 4,000. So if in this particular row we can somehow get for 4,000, which is James Anderson's salary, then we can easily compare both these values and figure out whether the employee salary is greater than manager or not. So how can we do that? So in order to do that, what we can do is we can do the self join of this table. So we can join this table with itself based on this manager ID column. Because when we join this table based on manager ID column, then we can get this James Anderson's 4,000 salary in this particular cell, which will be, let's say, beside this 10. So manager ID, we have to look into this employee ID column. So for one table, we will consider the joining key as manager ID, and for the second table, we'll consider the joining key as employee ID. So let me start with the query, and then let's try to understand it better. I'll write select from what? Select from employees, and let's call it as E1, and then do a left join again with what? Employees, as let's call it as E2, and on what fields we have to join. So my first table, which is E1, I'll pick the manager ID from that particular table. I'll call E1 dot manager ID equals to, and in second table I have to look for this manager ID in this employees table to bring this manager in this particular row, right? So I'll do E2. In the second table I have to look this manager ID, E2 dot employee ID, right? So if I now select all the columns, what will I get? So for this particular case, Daniel, we will get the James Anderson in this particular row. And if you look at row number 3 and 4, in this case, for Olivia and Noah, we will get the employee with employee ID 8, which is William in this case. So William will be populated, William's values will be populated in row number 3 and 4. So let me run this query first and let's see the output. So yeah, you can see in case of Daniel, James values are here, and in case of Olivia and Noah, Williams values are here. So we have got the values. So but what we needed the salaries, right? So we are only concerned with comparing the salaries. So now we can easily compare Daniel's salary with Anderson's salaries and Olivia's salaries with William's salaries. So in this particular query only, we can simply do a comparison here. So I can put a where condition here, where our E1 dot salary is greater than E2 dot. So E1 contains those employees whose salary we want to check, and E2 contains their manager's salary, right? So if we filter on this, then we will get our final answer. Let me run this query. So you can see only Olivia Smith has salary greater than the manager's salary, who was William. So here you can simply get only the employee's name and the salary, only those two columns. or even employee ID. So as per whatever is asked by the interviewer, and I think this is the final output that we should have. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.